Kirby Smart is the king of college football. Nick Saban is still around. Nick Saban no longer runs college football. It is important to remember that many of Nick Saban's national titles were created with Kirby Smart. That was Paul Finebaum, who, woo, I mean, that's quite a statement. I mean, the second sentence, the third sentence, whatever it was, is accurate, is factually correct. That is important to remember that Saban's national titles were created with Kirby Smart. It's also accurate to state that, not only has Georgia over the time since 2016 uh, risen in a way that it had not yet gotten to, but Alabama has not been as good as it was before that time. I mean, you know, I often think that people talk too much about Georgia and Alabama and how the two compare to one another, but the reality is those two are the best two programs out there right now. I think Ohio State is in the same universe as well. I think Michigan has to be considered in that ballpark too because they keep beating Ohio State. But right now, really, Georgia and Bama have separated themselves from most of college football. I think you can make the argument Georgia itself has separated itself from college football, but I'm not sure I'm ready to kill off Alabama, and I don't think that Paul Feinbaum, who said that, is killing Alabama or Nick off either. But there's got to be a recognition that Georgia has been exceptional lately. When you start thinking about their from 2016 on, this has been a program on the rise. Amazingly, I think 2019 was probably a move backward versus what you saw in 17 and 18. But um, for the most part, the slow build has been coming the entire time at Georgia. One thing that we talk about in Double Dogs, which focuses a lot on the Ohio State game, a lot on the Texas Christian game. I've got stuff in the book that you're not going to read about anywhere else. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Well, most people don't write books anyway, and if they are, they're just regurgitated stuff. But those are my friends. This is going to be original content. A lot of the images you're not going to see anywhere else. So make sure you're picking up Double Dogs today. And a lot of people are because if you order now, you're going to get some confetti in there with you. Now, I can't guarantee what every single piece of confetti will be, but you will get confetti that was sprayed on the field after the game. So sign up now. I really do legitimately don't know when I'll run out of this. If you've already ordered, you're good. You're going to get your confetti. But in the book, I'm going to talk about the slow rise of Georgia, and really, particularly in the Ohio State game, what Georgia did that Ohio State didn't do that helped the Dogs win the national championship along the way because that game was really important. And one other thing that was kind of curious about Nick, and I'll talk about this in another video, is he voted Alabama number two in the final coaches ranking, and perhaps he's right. Maybe his rationale, and I'd have to look at it, is everybody except Michigan had two losses, and we're the best two-loss team. But it does, for the situation in terms of Georgia, where they've come from, where they're going, versus where Alabama's been versus where it's going. I don't think, I think the question is, what will this new decade be like? And one thing I've always talked with guys and girls, guys and women and men who have worked with me at Dog Post is we don't really ever know where we are in the arc of history. When Georgia lost the national championship to Alabama in 2017, and then a year later lost to Alabama in 18, would we have known what the future would have been for both teams? If you were to predict, you would probably predict that what was happening would continue to happen, which was that Alabama, the prominent team with the best coach of all time, would continue to win in ways that other folks couldn't. But what's happened is they've not won in ways that other folks could. couldn't, excuse me. They have struggled to find their footing in an era of change in college football. And all that you can depend on in this sport is change. When you look at what Kirby has done over time, he has changed. And I want to mention this real quick too, because I've criticized Dabo Swinney a lot. I think the move that he made in the last 24 hours to replace his offensive coordinator is the best sign possible that he's not as stubborn as it appears. Although he's pretty stubborn, and it may be that he made that move, too late for keeping a lock on the ACC, because Florida State looks like it's going to be very good in 2023. Kirby knew he had a problem at offensive coordinator as well. He was not overly satisfied with Jim Chaney. He was not satisfied, I don't think, in any way with James Coley. He went out and got Todd Monken, and Georgia's lost 3 games in 3 years and won 2 national championships. So all of it all matters, and moving forward matters a lot. I have to say it does feel like Georgia has replaced offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators better than Nick has at Alabama. You've also had a generational player. I was talking with someone that is very knowledgeable about college football, and his thing was that it was wild to him that with a player the caliber of Bryce Young, probably the best quarterback to come out of an Alabama that's had some significantly good quarterbacks lately, that he didn't win the national championship there. Does that say anything, or what does that say about Alabama as it stands right now? I don't know. You're also going to get into a situation with Kirby where, if he doesn't win it in 23 or 24 or 25, people will say, well, he can't win it without, Stetson Bennett as his quarterback. So it does seem more like Georgia has gone to a system/machine based program, and Alabama has become a little bit more about the electric star players, whether you're talking about Bryce Young or Gibbs or Will Anderson. There was, for all the discussion of Brock Bowers and Stetson Bennett, there really wasn't a star player the likes of which you had Bryce Young or Will Anderson on this Georgia team. They weren't there. I mean, I recall this time of year a year ago when and I don't know that I mean, I thought Alabama or Ohio State would win the national championship in 2022. Um, and there were reasons why, but I think we have to take a step back and look at where everyone is moving forward. And Alabama is not as positioned as well as it has been in the past. You can say what you'd like about Mark Schlabach, who, I mean, he's a friend of mine, or at least a very good acquaintance. Um, his way too early top 25 is a barometer for what the thinking is nationally. And, Alabama's not number 2 in this one. And it's been a long time that I can recall that that Bama's not been 1 or 2. So Fletcher Page is a reporter and has been an editor and so forth at the Athens Banner Herald and USA Today's network for a while, Gannett. And we've known each other for coming on 13 years now. And at the start of Kirby and Nick, we really felt like you could tell, you could start to tell that there were differences with Alabama specifically. Then you could see that there were differences with Georgia. And now you can see that there are noticeable differences between the schools and what they once were. Hey, again, if you're getting double dogs, and I've gotten bombarded with orders lately, if you're getting double dogs today, you're going to get some confetti with you, okay? I've got enough confetti probably for the first maybe 1,000 or so orders. I don't know. I'm just going to be on. I don't know how quick I'm going to get to 1,000. We're selling quick at a quicker pace this year than we did with Dogstruction. If you want dog instruction, that order has been placed. If you're missing out on both of these, today is a great opportunity to get something that you're not going to be able to get in May, okay, which is the confetti included. I have children, brought the confetti home, then it realized to me that y'all might want some confetti. And so I've got some, I don't have forever. Make sure you're going to Red Zone. We'll see you on the next video.